Hello everyone. Welcome to the lecture for the course Applied Thermodynamics. Today we will start new chapter, that is vapor and gas power cycles. Under that we will see Carnot cycle and Rankine cycle. Myself Sumit Bardia, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering at Rao. Today we will cover the following points such as Carnot cycle, limitation of Carnot cycle, Rankine cycle, comparison between Rankine and Carnot cycle, effect of operating conditions on Rankine efficiency, and we'll see two numericals on the same. The device producing net power output are called engines, and the thermodynamic cycles on which they operate are called power cycles. The thermodynamic power cycles can be categorized as gas power cycles and vapor power cycles. So we'll start with the Carnot cycle. Here the figure shows a Carnot cycle on TS and PV diagram. It consists of two constant pressure operation. Here 4 to 1 is constant pressure and 2 to 3 is a constant pressure process, and here two frictionless adiabatics, that is 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. Here the operation 4 to 1, nothing but 1 kg of boiling water at temperature T1 is heated to form wet steam of dryness fraction X1. Thus heat is absorbed at constant temperature T1 and pressure P1 during this operation. Operation 1 to 2 is steam is expanded isentropically to a temperature T2 and pressure P2 here. The point 2 represents the condition of steam after expansion. Now operation 2 to 3 is heat is rejected. Heat is rejected at constant pressure P2 and temperature T2. As steam is exhausted, it becomes wetter and cooled from 2 to 3. Now last operation is 3 to 4. In this operation, the wet steam at point 3 is compressed isentropically till the steam regain its original state of temperature T1 and pressure P1. Thus this cycle is completed. Now what we are going to calculate here, we need to calculate here efficiency of Carnot cycle, which is nothing but output divided by input. Now what will be the output here? Output will be the work done and input will be the heat supplied. Now how to calculate that? Now here see, efficiency is work done divided by heat supply. What is work done here? That is, it is the difference between heat supplied minus heat rejected. So we need to calculate first heat supplied and heat rejected. So heat supplied at constant temperature T1, that is operation 4 to 1. Okay, that is heat supplied, heat absorbed, okay, at constant temperature. That is area 4 1 B A. So that will be area for the heat supplied. So we'll see the equation, that is T1 S1 minus S4. So T1 S1 minus S4, here S1 minus S4, the change in entropy, or T1 S2 minus S3, because S1 equal to S2 and S3 equal to S4. We need to substitute the value of S3 in S4 S2 in S1. Similarly, for heat rejected at constant temperature T2, that is area 23AB. So that will be the area for heat rejection at temperature T2. Okay, so T2 will be S2 minus S3. Okay. Now, since there is no heat exchange of heat during isentropic operation, that is adiabatic process, so no heat exchange. So net work done will be heat supplied minus heat rejected. So T1 S2 minus S3 minus T2 S2 minus S3. So T1 minus T2 multiplied by S2 minus S3. So ultimately Carnot cycle efficiency will be work done upon heat supplied, that will be T1 minus T2 S2 minus S3 divided by T1 S2 minus S3. So this will get cancelled and we will get T1 minus T2 divided by T1. So that is the theoretical efficiency of Carnot cycle we need to calculate from this equation. Now what are the limitations of Carnot cycle? Though Carnot cycle is simple and has the highest thermal efficiency for given values of T1 and T2, it is extremely difficult to operate in practice because of some reasons. First reason is it is difficult to compress a wet vapor isentropically. So first one is here. It is difficult to compress a wet vapor isentropically to a saturated state as required by the process 3 to 4. Second reason is it is difficult to control the quality of condensate coming out of the condenser so that the state 3 is exactly obtained. Okay. Third reason is the efficiency of Carnot cycle is greatly affected by the temperature T1 at which heat is transferred to the working fluid. Since the critical temperature for steam is only 374 degrees Celsius, therefore if the cycle is to be operated in the wet region, the maximum possible temperature is severely limited. So that is the major limitation of the Carnot cycle. The cycle is more difficult to operate in practice with superheated steam due to necessity of supplying the superheat at constant temperature instead of constant pressure. In a practical cycle, limits of pressure and volume are far more easily realized than limits of temperature, so that at present no practical engine operates on the Carnot cycle, although all modern cycles aspire to achieve it. Okay, but no one is operate on practical engine. Next important cycle is the Rankine cycle. Rankine cycle is a theoretical cycle on which the steam turbine works. So here the schematic diagram shows about the steam power plant. Here the four major components are there, that is boiler, turbine, condenser and feed pump. Okay, so here Q1 is nothing but heat absorbed by the boiler, turbine, the work output we are getting from the turbine, condensate, heat rejected is there, and feed pump we need to supply work. So net work output will be turbine work minus pump work. So that will be the net power output we are getting from this cycle. So Rankine cycle comprises certain processes, that is processes 1 to 2 is nothing but reversible adiabatic expansion. In turbine, expansion is taking place in the turbine. 2 to 3 condensation process, that is constant pressure heat rejection process, constant pressure transfer of heat to the condenser, in the condenser Process 3 to 4 is reversible adiabatic pumping process is there in the feed pump, and 4 to 1 is constant pressure transfer of heat to the boiler. Okay, so here the figure, here three figures are there, A, B, C. First figure is PV diagram, second is TS diagram, and third one is HS diagram. Okay. Now if we consider 1 kg of fluid flowing in the cycle, so we need to apply steady flow energy equation SFEE to boiler, turbine, condenser and feed pump. So ultimately we need to calculate the efficiency here. So for boiler, here for boiler, HF4 plus Q1 equal to H1. What is meant by that? HF4 here, enthalpy of water plus the heat provided to the boiler is nothing but H1. Is it? So HF4 plus Q1 equal to H1. HF4 plus Q1 equal to H1. So Q1 will be H1 minus HF4. Okay. Now next for turbine, H1 equal to work from the turbine plus H2. We'll see here. H1 equal to work output, that is WT plus H2. Okay. So H1, the expansion will taking place, will get the work output and the remaining steam will flows back to the condenser for the condenser. Okay. So here the equation will be H1 equal to WT plus H2. Okay. So from that WT will be H1 minus H2. Next for condenser, that is H2 equal to Q2 plus HF3. Here, what is that? H2 equal to Q2 plus HF3. So heat rejected to the, that is surrounding, or it is supplied to the cooling water, cooling towers, and the remaining enthalpy of water or condenser, that is HF3. So H2 equal to Q2 plus HF3 because it is a fluid. So Q2 will be H2 minus HF3. Okay. For feed pump, HF3 plus WP equal to HF4. So HF3 plus WP, HF3 plus WP. Now here work is supplied on the pump, it is given to the pump. So H3 plus WP is equal to HF4. Is it right? Yes. So WP will be HF4 minus HF3. So where we require this to find out the efficiency. Now what will be the efficiency here? Efficiency will be work done, net work done divided by heat supplied. Now heat supplied will be here in the boiler. Heat is supplied to the boiler. So that is input. Now net work done is nothing but work done by turbine minus work done by the pump, or we are supplied to the pump, minus divided by Q1. So what is WT here? H1 minus WT is H1 minus H2 minus HF4 minus HF3, that is WP here, where it is WP here last, HF4 minus HF3 divided by Q1 is H1 minus HF4 here, first one. Okay. So that will be the efficiency equation for the Rankine cycle. Now feed pump handles liquid water which is incompressible. Okay. Feed pump handles incompressible liquid water, which means with the increase in pressure its density or specific volume undergoes a little change. Using general property relation of reversible adiabatic compression, we get here TdS equal to dH minus VdP. So that we have seen in the basic thermodynamics, we have seen the entropy change or entropy equation. So ds equal to 0, dH equal to VdP, and delta H will be V delta P. So since change in specific volume is negligible. Okay. So then HF4 minus HF3 equal to V3 P1 minus P2. That change in pressure, here we have considered V3 because at 3 point it is going to the feed pump. Okay, here at this point. So V3 equal to P1 minus P2. Now when P is in the bar and V is in meter cube per kg, we have HF4 minus HF3 equal to V3 P1 minus P2 into 10 raised to 5. That is converted into joules per kg. The feed pump term HF4 minus HF3 being a small quantity in comparison with the turbine work. So very small work we need to provide to the feed pump. So usually it is neglected. We are not considering that much. So when the boiler pressure is low, we need to neglect the WT. So Rankine efficiency will be, here Rankine efficiency will be H1 minus H2 divided by H1 minus HF4. So that will give you the Rankine efficiency, theoretical Rankine efficiency. Okay. Next slide is about comparison between Rankine cycle and Carnot cycle. Between the same temperature limits, Rankine cycle provides higher specific work output than a Carnot cycle. Consequently, Rankine cycle requires a smaller steam flow rate, resulting in smaller size plant for a given power output. However, Rankine cycle calls for higher rates of heat transfer in boiler and condenser. That you need to remember. Since the Rankine cycle, only part of the heat is supplied isothermally at constant higher temperature T1. Therefore, its efficiency is lower than the Carnot cycle. The efficiency of Rankine cycle will approach that of the Carnot cycle more nearly if the superheat temperature rise is reduced. Okay. The advantage of using pump to feed liquid to the boiler instead to compressing a wet vapor is obvious that the work for compression is very large compared to the pump. So that is again the comparison point for the Rankine and Carnot cycle. Now there are various effect of operating conditions on Rankine cycles are there. That is first one, increasing the boiler pressure. It has been observed that by increasing the boiler pressure, the cycle tends to rise and reaches a maximum value at a boiler pressure of about 166 bar. Okay, so that is the first parameter. The second one is superheating. All other factors remaining the same, if the steam is superheated before allowing it to expand, the Rankine cycle efficiency may be increased. The use of superheated steam also ensures longer turbine blade life because of the absence of erosion from high velocity water particles that are suspended in the wet vapor. Okay, so that is about the superheating. And third one is, third parameter which affects, that is reducing the condenser pressure. Thermal efficiency of the cycle can be improved by reducing condenser pressure. Especially in high vacuums. But the increase in efficiency is obtained at the increased cost of condensation apparatus. So that is again disadvantage of it. Okay. The thermal efficiency of Rankine cycle can be improved by certain methods like regenerative feed heating, reheating of steam, water extraction, or using the binary vapor. So some methods are there to improve the efficiency of Rankine that we will see in the next lecture. Now we will see some examples of Rankine cycle as well as Carnot cycle. Okay, so first example is about, in a steam power cycle, the steam supply is at 15 bar and dry and saturated. The condenser pressure is 0.4 bar. So calculate the Carnot and Rankine efficiencies of the cycle, neglect pump work. So steam is supplied at 15 bar. So T1 is 15 bar, which is dry and saturated. So steam quality is dry and saturated. So dryness fraction will be 1. So is dryness fraction, if steam is wet in the condition of wet, so the dryness fraction will be less than 1. That you need to remember. And also the condenser pressure is given, that is P2 0.4 bar. Okay, so we need to get some values of enthalpies and entropy from the steam tables. So at 15 bar, here the saturation temperature is 198.3 Hg. Hg is nothing but enthalpy of gas or steam. It is 2789.9. Entropy of gas 6.4406. Similarly, for at 0.4 bar, saturation temperature 75.9. Enthalpy of fluid in condenser fluid is there. So enthalpy of fluid is 317.7. HFG, the mixing of fluid and gas, is also there. So that you need to consider fluid as well as gas. So 2319.2 kilojoule per kg. Entropy for the fluid 1.0261. Enthalpy of fluid and gas 6.6448 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Temperature here we can calculate by T1 is 198.3 plus 273, that will be 471.3 Kelvin, and T2 here 75.9 plus 273 348.9 Kelvin. Now what will be the efficiency of Carnot then? We have already seen that T1 minus T2 divided by T1 will be the efficiency of Carnot. So substituting the values of T1 and T2, we are getting the Carnot efficiency as 25.9%. Similarly for Rankine efficiency, that is H1 minus H2 divided by H1 minus HF2. So we don't have those values. We need to calculate here H2. I think H1 we have. H1, that is Hg we have. Okay. So we need to calculate H2. We have to calculate, so that will be calculated by HF2 plus X2 HFG2. So HF2 is known 317.7, X2, that is dryness fraction, we need to calculate, and 2319.2 will be the HFG2. Okay, so now how to calculate X2 here? We know that steam expands isentropically, so entropy remains constant, S1 equal to S2. S1 we have, that is 6.4406 equal to SF2 plus X2. So SFG2 equal to 1.0261 plus X2 multiplied by 6.6448. Okay. So X2 will be coming 0.815. Okay. Now substituting the values X2 in and calculate H2, you will get the 2207.8 kilojoule per kg from equation 1. So ultimately the efficiency of Rankine will be, substituting value of H1 minus H2 divided by H1 minus HF2, you will get the efficiency as 23.54%. The next example, that is the adiabatic enthalpy drop across the prime mover of the Rankine cycle is 840. So enthalpy drop is already given. The enthalpy of steam supplied is 2940 kilojoule per kg. If the back pressure is 0.1 bar, find the specific steam consumption and thermal efficiency. So adiabatic heat drop is already given, that is H1 minus H2 is nothing but 840 kilojoule per kg. Enthalpy of steam supplied H1 is given, that is 2940 kilojoule per kg. Back pressure is 0.1 bar. So P2 is given 0.1 bar. So from table we can calculate at 0.1 bar HF will be 191.8 kilojoule per kg at 0.1 bar. So Rankine efficiency will be H1 minus H2 divided by H1 minus HF2. We'll substitute the values and we are getting the Rankine efficiency as 30.56. Now useful work done. H1 minus H2 is nothing but the work done, the enthalpy drop in the turbine. So H1 minus H2 will be 840. Specific steam consumption will be 1 upon 840 kg per second. Okay. So you need to convert the specific steam consumption, that is the unit is kg per kilowatt hour. So kilojoule per kg you need to convert into kg per kilowatt hour. So here to convert into hour, again multiply by 3600 Okay, that is kg per second is there. Here this is, so you need to convert into 3600 multiply by, so it becomes hour. So 4.286 kg per kilowatt hour will be the specific steam consumption. Okay, so that's the small problem we have taken. Let's we stop here and we'll continue with the same chapter in the next lecture. Thank you.